was Hungry for Change. And Hungry for Change was really all about... I might just let you do the slides up there if that's okay, because this is not really working. I don't have my slide license. So Hungry for Change was a really fantastic film, and it's something that really explored a lot about the whole diet industry and the diet mentality and how we all go to diets, like John was saying, to lose weight, but it's actually creating a war with our body. And it's through that process that we uncovered a lot of the dangers of dieting and the diet industry and food additives and MSG and aspartame, and brought that film to light. I'm really grateful for my dad's experience in order to be able to do that. The next film we worked on, or the next project, was Laurentine making a baby, which was an awesome project. Just about as difficult as making a film. But creating a baby was an amazing experience, and it's something that really changes your whole perspective on the world. Are there any men here that's seen a human come out of a woman? A couple? Only a few. Isn't that weird? We hide birth from society? Isn't it? How many people have even heard a woman in labour? Couple? Not many. Women, mostly women. I heard myself. We insulate birth from our society. This is the biggest sci-fi film ever. Isn't it? It comes out, something attached to it, and then they're like, what's that? It's like, oh my god. But it's so profound. And that experience was just unbelievable. And it really shifts your perspective on the world. It really helps to realign your purpose and mission. And here's a little photo of Hugo now. It looks like he's grown up a little bit since then. And he's here today, which is cool. He didn't go to Perth or Melbourne, but he's made a special appearance in Sydney. Only a small appearance fee. And then the next project we worked on was FMTV. One of the things we started to realise was that film has this amazing, incredible power to change belief systems, which is a really critical element, like I mentioned earlier, about changing the decisions you make and then changing the outcome of your life. And there was not a platform that existed. Hi, you going to come up, Benny? Okay, come here. Say hi, Benny. What's your favourite animal? Lion! A lion? What noise does a lion make? $10,000. Good man. So, with FMTV, we were like, how can we have all of these films that could have this power to transform and have them accessible on one platform? Because I was having filmmakers come to me from all over the world and say, what do you suggest for distribution? How can I get it to more people? You guys have been luckily successful with your strategies for getting films to people, and I would consult freely on that. And then realized that the platform was the best way to do it. And it's been live now for coming up 2 years, and we've averaged a new release a week in that period. We've got, thank you guys, thank you guys. Any FMTV members here? Awesome, super. So it's something I'm super passionate about. We've got iOS apps coming out in the next 3 or 4 weeks. And also for the new Apple TV, so you'll be able to one-click and have it on your TV as well. Awesome. So excited about that. And we've got an awesome, I think it was a special today where it's $1 for the first 30 days and then $7.95 a month. And it's going to be going up to $9.95 a month in end of March, because we're adding these really cool programs to it. So you can do guided programs and like breakfast, morning, it's got all your menus, and you can do a 28-day transformation program, 3-day detoxes, and all one little click with your thumb, check off as you're going, and it tracks your progress. And just, I'm so excited about it, it's ridiculous. And so can't believe that. And then the next thing we did was, the next thing we're doing secretly is, everyone always asks me, are we working on another film? And we actually are going to start filming another film in July this year. So super excited, I can't wait for it. I'm speaking to it about a few people, but I might hint a little bit more about what the topic is later today when Laurentine and I share a segment. So to finish up here, I wanted to talk about, do you want to go back to Mummy or stay up here? I wanted to talk about the future of wellness, because even this week I got to speak to like 4 medical doctors, Dr. Eric Zielinski, an essential oils expert, Dr. Josh Axe, an expert on autoimmunity and gut health, Sarah Wilson from Microsugar, you know Sarah Wilson. My week, I'm so fortunate that now is filled up with connecting with these people, whether it's making a film, speaking with filmmakers, speaking with people that have recovered from chronic illness or medical doctors, and I'm so fortunate to get an insight into the future of wellness, unlike any other person, and I just feel so grateful for that, and I wanted to share some of them with you today. One of the first steps is personalized nutrition, and write this down because this will be normal, mainstream practice in the next 3 to 5 years, I guarantee, maybe even earlier. One of the first things is genomic testing or DNA testing. I'm not a huge fan of high-tech approaches to health, and DNA testing and genomic testing is something that was only ever $4, $5, $6, $10,000 or more. Now it's less than $1,000 and you can have your full genome sequenced. And what is freakish about this is I had mine done recently. I actually called Donna Gates, anyone know her? Body Ecology Diet? Called her up, and I called a few other people in the States up, and I'm like, what is the go with this? Is it for real? Should we be doing it? And she's like, this is amazing. It's the absolute future of where we're going. I said, who should I get to do it? There's a few companies, 23andMe in the States, and she's like, no, they're under FDA review. The FDA is trying to crack down on it. It's funny, they crack down on all the good shit, don't they? They're trying to crack down on it and make sure that they don't do too many health markers in the reports. But she said the best company in the world is based out of Melbourne, Australia. I'm like, for real? That's interesting. She's called Smart DNA. I'm like, wow, awesome. So I went and got my genes sequenced, had a call with a geneticist, and they're like, basically, she read out my whole dad's story. You've got COMT switched on, which means you're susceptible to adrenal fatigue and anxiety, which means you need to make sure you're on top of your B vitamins, you need to make sure you're on top of this. I'm like, whoa. It makes sense that we do get a certain amount of genetic material from our parents. And they also believe, and I also believe in this theory of, or the idea, it's not a theory, the idea of epigenetics, or how what we eat can influence our genes and switch on or switch off certain biomarkers that we have. And how this test is so important is that it helps you bring focus and awareness to different areas of weakness that you may have in your body, and to turn that weakness into a strong point. Now I don't skip my high B vitamin foods, and I supplement with a whole food B vitamin supplement as well. And I know I have more of an attachment to doing that as opposed to this, I'm eating healthy to prevent disease. It's like I know that I have these points and I want to make sure that I focus on it. And I spoke to the company and I said, you guys are so outdated, you have to literally go to a practitioner, hope that they are a Smart DNA practitioner that can refer it. They can't buy it direct. And I said, this is ridiculous, I want to offer it direct. They said, only if you can have a naturopath or someone in-house on staff, which we do, or work through their network of practitioners. And I said, I don't care, I just want to help make sure this is more widely available. So they agreed. So we do have the pack available on the forums as well if you're interested in taking that. You know, if my dad had had this test done, it would have saved thousands of dollars of fees with specialists and practitioners and more drugs, as opposed to just going, well, here's your weakness, focus on your B vitamins, focus on this, this, and this, and really understanding your body. The other element is the microbiome testing. We've heard a lot about the gut already today. You can get your microbiome tested. It's pretty dirty, but you just swab some, that stuff that comes out the back, put it in a little tube, send it off, and you can get a reading of your gut. This is really interesting because things like E. coli that I thought were dangerous and kill you, actually you need in your gut in order to manufacture certain bacteria to support it. So getting gut health right is super critical. The other thing is allergy testing. This is so important. Dr. Abram Hoffa, there's one quick thing here. Abram Hoffa was a physician from Canada. Not many people know him unless you're a geek. And he had an 85% success rate of curing schizophrenia over his entire career. Now the American Schizophrenic Association says it's an incurable disease. And you got this guy with an 85% success rate. How do you do it? Step number 1, remove allergies. Whoa. Dr. Ian Bridehope from Foodmatters was telling me a story after the interview, how he would work with a lot of psychiatric patients as well, and they would get admitted into psych wards and psychs in hospitals where they have padded cells, they still do shock therapy. And they had a patient admitted who was a young kid who was suffering from schizophrenia, bipolar, put him in this padded cell, gave him a Vegemite sandwich on white bread and a glass of milk. He ran the allergy test. He was allergic to gluten, dairy, and yeast. What are we doing? He got him off that, focused on an orthomolecular approach, and he was lucid most of the time thereafter. Such simple, basic approaches to understanding the systemic nature of our body and working with that idea of biochemical individuality, which is about personalized nutrition, understanding your body. And for a small, like really, realistically, for your whole life, you can get an allergy test, a microbiome test, and a DNA test for under $1,500 once in your entire life, and that's it. You know you for your whole life. I mean, I think it's profound. This is a new era in medicine. I think insurance, this will be mandatory with insurance companies in the future. We're going to see this big time. Next point is becoming a qualitarian and divorcing nutritional dogma. I was going to the States in 2008, 2009 after Foodmatters, and I'd go to these festivals and they'd be like, "Oh my God, you made Foodmatters, that's so cool. How raw are you?" I'm like 86% right now. And we become addicted to these labels and these ideas of how we eat. Are we a vegetarian? Are we vegan? Are we a lacto-ovo-vegetarian? Are we a pescatarian? Are we paleo? And once we get attached to a label, it's like we can't divorce ourselves from it. And then if we end up ever eating outside of that, it causes stress because we're not eating in the way that I believed was right. I believe we need to divorce nutritional dogma and move towards a new dogma, just joking. But qualitarian almost is a new dogma, but the idea behind being a qualitarian is that you choose quality foods, local, organic, in season, and that it doesn't matter how you label that, whether you choose to be vegetarian or vegan or part-time paleo. The next slide is cultured foods and beverages. This is huge. This is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as we understand more about the gut. We're going to be talking more about the gut this afternoon, Laurentine and I. So we're looking for cultured veggies without pasteurization, so they're raw and living. Things like coconut and milk kefirs, kombuchas and fermented teas. Just watch the sugar levels on them. Some of them are too high in sugar. And fermented vegetables. Can I play a quick game here? I'm going to say a food and you're going to say the fermented